All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Bungou Stray Dogs, Season 1, Episode 6. We got
Right.
introduced to the detective.
Yes. We got him in the previous episodes, but we have now actually found out that he does not, in fact, have an ability.
No.
It is not something super special or supernatural, but it is actually pretty impressive. He is just that smart.
Yep.
He is a bit of a chunibyo,
just a bit,
in general. But he believes himself to be that smart. Edugoa Orampo, which, if you say that very slowly, very, very slowly, and you think about it, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And he's a little bit crazy, so...
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, but Dazai encompasses a bit of the darker side of things.
Yes.
Although, of course, being voiced by Mamoru Miyano, he can't be that dark of,
Right,
of a
exactly.
persona.
No,
Right,
not at all.
right, not at all.
Not at all.
But the Port Mafia has essentially been kind of ousted to the side after losing the Black Lizard's reputation.
Yes. It was such a dramatic defeat.
Yeah.
They will never recover.
So... given that we spent a little bit of time introducing another member of the ADA, I think this next episode will be another ADA member.
I can see that.
One, then.
Yeah.
So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. All right, everyone, now be sure to go check out the reaction portion of the video in the description below, then come back here for the discussion. Okay, so we got our intro to a new kind of mini arc or bigger arc of story here. We have another Blue Milk run that goes to be anything but, bumps into the Port Mafia, bumps into a kidnapping ring, specifically for smuggling organs on the black market, but then also ends up being one that bumped into the Port Mafia, and thus they are not with the Port Mafia, they are... something newer. And then also we got dumped with some exposition with regards to Doppo's backstory and how there is some connection to a terrorist that the people, well, specifically the hacker boy, is connected to the detective, or one of the 5 detectives.
Because he was their son.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, cool. So that he doesn't have a parent because of what happened, and so it makes sense that Doppo would feel bad about that. But this whole situation with this Azure Messenger, and no, we're not talking about the popular cloud service. We are talking about a killer, a bomber. And the fact that they're the messenger, not the king.
Are they even the bomber, though?
The Azure King was the bomber.
Well, right. So,
but they're dead.
The messenger is nobody. We have no idea necessarily who they are, other than what our theories are.
But the fact, the name and the fact that they would have them meet them at the hospital where the Azure King blew themselves up means that there is a connection that is fairly strong, right? It's the I chose this name for a reason. I chose the meeting place for a reason.
No, this spot they found where the organs were being harvested and stuff. This is where the Azure King blew himself up. The message of we're going to have a bomb go off that's going to kill hundreds of people is not going to be here. It's just going to be at a location.
Right. It's at a location, and this is just where they gave them basically the proof that a bomb would go off.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A bomb was being built here. And thus it is already done.
So my hot 2-second take is that it's the girl and she's the child of the bomber.
Okay.
And she's continuing her father's work or parents' work or whoever.
Yeah, I think that there's a possibility for a 2 or 3 even person thing, since they said it's a newfangled organization. But the taxi driver also said he met people at the harbor spot. So I don't think this is the Port Mafia doing some kind of double sting to try and get at the ADA in a really roundabout way.
Right, or that one person that was kidnapped to like remove a specific person from their organization without the rest of the organization knowing, or and also I don't think necessarily that it could be the girl, because she's been, well, she's not been involved in this stuff since then. So I think it's more likely that the messenger might be the hacker, but the one who's building the bomb
or involved with the potential harming of a bunch of innocents might not be the hacker.
Gotcha.
So the hacker might be more of someone who's doing just the talking in general.
Now if that's the case, what do you think will be the reasoning for why the hacker is partaking in something that is kind of copycatting the person who killed their parent?
Well, the main reason why I think it's not necessarily something of just pure good
Coincidence
or evil.
Okay.
No, it's just a thing of where there's people that are involved that maybe he's slightly getting back at. Because there's a bunch of people that were kidnapped and they all died. We don't know who they are or why they were picked.
Also, there was something else that we got. If it was the hacker and we wanted some motivation, it was mentioned that the reason that there were only 5 people that went into the building was because all of the different groups of law enforcement, basically, all that stuff, they were doing a shit job of their work because they were stepping on each other's toes and stuff. They were all working together and they didn't play well.
So in a lot of ways, they are responsible for getting his father killed, not the bomber.
Sure.
Because the bomber, if anything, was cornered. He was in a situation where there was no way for him to get out.
Right. Now, the fact that he had the bomb, that's not something that they could have probably stopped.
No. But they didn't have any real logistical reason to raid him.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing to be gained from raiding. All they had to do was sit there for a few days, starve him out, and make him negotiate.
Right, exactly.
And they probably would have gotten him without even having him die, too.
The reason they probably had to move quickly was because there weren't very many of them, and they couldn't just keep a whole building locked down by themselves. That doesn't work.
But if they didn't reveal that they had found him in that building, there was a possibility that they could just wait and tail him if he left. So it is one of those things where I feel like the hacker has the strongest motivation, given the exposition, in this story. The girl who's brought in, the main reason why I think she's sus is that her being drowning in the water while there's people dying in a gas chamber right next to it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense. So there are 3 reasons that stand out to me. A couple of them are meta, or at least one of them is meta, and that's the fact that we got the whole name description thing on the side. We haven't gotten that for other characters. Like I don't think we even got that for the hacker, right?
Yeah, we did.
We did? We did. Okay, yeah, maybe. But that was just something where it's like, oh, okay, she's just a random survivor. Two, the fact that she actually, maybe something happened with Desai. It's possible that that's just what she needed to do because, oh my God, I'm alive and this is great, right? But when someone's been kidnapped and now they're in a stranger's home, I don't think they would necessarily be feeling very frisky, you know?
Who knows?
It's possible, but that makes me think that at the very least, she might not have actually been scared. Right.
Yeah, and the other thing is just that if she was about to have her organs harvested, and that's why she wasn't put in the gas chamber because they had their organs harvested, but she hadn't yet. That's all well and good. I get it, but she was put in there to drown.
Right. Like that makes me think that it was either something that was personal, so they wanted to see her drown and all of that, or that it's. The best explanation I can think of is that it's some weird MO of the kidnapper that it's she's a beautiful lady, so we're not going to, because that was the only other differentiating factor is that all the dudes in the gas chamber were guys, and then she was in the drowning pod. So
that's some incel behavior.
Yeah,
hacker again.
Oh, sure.
Just he's isolated. He's by himself in his machines. He has very much I'll do it when I feel like it kind of thing. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, you got a chip on your shoulder. Okay.
I will say, since this is Doppo's story,
focus,
Doppo's focus, and his whole thing is the ideal. Well, we have been shown that maybe because of his ideals, he is blind in some areas.
Yeah.
Right.
Very possible.
And if that was true, right? Because he's taken this kid in, but he hasn't. I mean, I don't know how much of an actual father he's been able to be, because one, he can't. He's not his actual dad.
Sure.
But two,
for sure.
What we see of this kid is that he's holed up, basically isolated by himself. So, okay. And if it were to be something where it's again his own fault, kind of, right? Because oh yeah, I didn't actually see the signs, you know.
Yep.
And because of that, these people are dead. That would rhyme with his backstory that we got from him.
Yeah, and he's a realist in pursuit of ideals. This is something that I really liked that they brought up immediately in the episode. Was that he is a contradiction. He's not compatible with himself even. So maybe Dazai being incompatible in some ways brings out his own compatibility. Because if you're a realist, you know, a logical person who looks at, you know, facts,
right,
but also writes down your ideals as goals to attain,
that's contradiction.
You must understand that realistically most of your ideals will not be met. That is the whole point of it being an ideal.
And you could even say that's one of the goals and pursuits of humanity, right? Is the struggle of those two things.
I mean, sure.
I mean, maybe that's a me way of
that's a you way of looking at it. Yeah, I'm very, very much an idealist in general, like as well. But I would say that the struggle with me is almost never with regards to realism, because if I bring in realism into it, I have to abandon so many ideals just in general, because they're just not realistic.
Right, because
that's
ideal.
The point. Yeah, exactly. So if he is the one that seeks that, he is a smart, intelligent, capable man. We see him handle Akutagawa, which we think he had zero chance.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get punked. I was like, I certainly hope that, like, our boy, you know, comes back soon, because, you know, he hadn't been gone that long, because otherwise, what could you possibly make with your poet ability that could stand up against I eat space?
Yeah.
You know.
Well, he's thinking 2 steps ahead of the guy.
Right.
And I love that I literally was seeing him make the decisions, and I still didn't realize, oh my god, he's just going to toss it into the water.
Yep.
My brain, it's so simple, but I wasn't even following myself, so that was wonderful.
Yep.
Also, it being a thing where it works in that Akutagawa does get stunned by it, but he also shrugs it off and leaps back. But then there's this very clear thing of where he's not going to engage in the fight anymore, because you have to step into the water again to get at him.
Well, and he's not just using his ability to attack him from far away. He's a bit more like he's learned a bit of humility, basically, and he's like, okay, I got cocky, and that's why you were able to do that, right? Because I was so convinced that you couldn't do anything to me.
Maybe chasing this guy blindly also isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
Because he could have traps or any kind of stuff that he could summon out. Yeah.
So then when the distraction comes in of regular people on their way, like, yeah, he could want to, like, keep it a secret that he has this ability and stuff, but quite frankly, they're not going to pose any direct threat to him.
No, of course not. But they do pose an indirect threat in that he leaves a body trail.
Sure.
And then he has to deal with the fact that now there are people on the lookout for someone that slices up police officers.
That's true. I was just like to think of it from the standpoint that this guy's proven himself smart enough that I want to be able to give him my full attention if I'm going to deal with him.
What are you talking about?
Akutagawa. When he's thinking about, like, okay, this guy's already surprised me. I don't want him to surprise me.
You, not the character? Are you speaking about you specifically?
No, I'm saying Akutagawa was surprised by Doppo.
Okay, so you're in the head of Akutagawa.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't follow.
Yeah. And so as a result of that, if there's going to be other things that could, you know, even though they wouldn't be a true direct threat, right? It would make it so that this guy would have more opportunities to surprise me like that. I don't want that.
Sure.
But
yeah, that would be a distraction of his mental focus and stuff like that. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have our first real multi-episode arc set up here. And given that this show has kind of
shied away from those?
Well, no, like it feels like it already has one with the Port Mafia. Just in general.
Okay.
Like, we're in conflict with them.
Right.
Just in general. It's just a question of where and when does that conflict pop up. Yeah. And in the midst of it, of course, our characters are going to go about their daily life and do their stuff and what have you, because they're an organization. They don't have to have the main character constantly dealing with priority number one for the org.
And there's a possibility that they've been dealing with the Port Mafia for a while. Black Lizard's attack, one, didn't work, but also it didn't surprise them. They're like, okay, here's another one. All right, whatever. So.
Yeah, if anything, it does feel like the ADA is just stronger than the Port Mafia. Mm-hmm. So if the Port Mafia brings in someone really strong like Akutagawa, it's a thing of where, then as long as we have like Dazai nearby, we're going to be okay, But, if it's Doppo's smart, but he's not going to fight him directly. He's going to, throw some shit in his way and then run, So as long as Akutagawa doesn't go directly to their headquarters and basically just say, come out, all of you, I'm going to slice you up, then we don't have to take them as the serious...
they're not a present danger.
Right. Yeah. It's this is the city. The city is dangerous.
We have enemies.
But we have also friends as well. So
exactly.
we don't need to go to war directly.
Right. Even though the story started here, the ADA has been around for a long time, and they're not going to be in danger...
Just in because another group doesn't like them.
Exactly, right. They've dealt with that before.
It's like, what else is new?
Yeah.
But yeah, Doppo being the focus character feels fun, and I also really like that we're giving him multiple episodes of focus on this, because as a character, he is one that feels like he could be the most interesting of all of them, outside of maybe Dazai.
Right, and Dazai there almost feels like a cheat answer in a way, because he's obviously the mainest of the characters of the ADA, right? Like if Atsushi wasn't the main character, then it would be Dazai. Dazai is if there is a mentor figure, and even though Dazai is maybe a bad example of a mentor figure, right? It's definitely him, right? It's totally him.
Right.
But Doppo, he definitely seems to, at the very least, be the most level-headed of
responsible.
Anyone. Yeah. Of anyone we've seen at the ADA thus far, which isn't saying much, but he's very responsible, so he makes up for it.
Yeah. But having a realist that has ideals.
Yeah. That's curious.
Bro, how do you go to sleep?
Right. Human heart in conflict with itself.
Right. I almost feel like he has to localize his ideals to the book.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that way
he has to get them out of his head.
That way they don't take over his life or anything.
Right, because if this is a story where we have a bunch of writers, being referenced and stuff like that, and we have someone who maybe in their head or in their heart, they're an idealist, right?
Sure.
But once they put their pen out, and they pull it out and they're like, okay, I'm going to create. Then they meet the world and realism hits their ideals and they go, shit, I cannot truly write these, so I'm going to localize them to this space that is, these are the ideals.
And I will say, as a writer, that is definitely a thing, because, and that's why the biggest, and this is kind of a little tangent, but I'll keep it short. That's why one of the most common examples of advice that I'll hear writers give to people, and I'll give to people, is to just write. Yeah. Because anything can be good in your head. Right, totally. Because it's all chaos in there, and you're the only one. You're the only one who really understands it, and even then, that's on a good day. So, it all sounds good in there, right? But the act of actually taking that chaos and giving it form, giving it order and structure,
right?
That's what differentiates the writers from the non-writers, right?
Yep.
And so, in this situation for Doppo, if that's his main conflict, I am all for that.
And he's known as the Doppo poet. That's his ability.
Yeah, poetry is like. Totally, it's the perfect marriage of form and function, because poetry has structure, but at the same time, it almost feels whimsical and unnecessary.
Yeah, aesthetic.
Yeah.
So we could actually be setting up just the whole thing of where we still haven't even really gotten his story. We're actually hearing more about his ideals than his actual story. Like the ways in which he takes care of others around him. The way in which when the two bungling dunderheads come into his path, the second he enters the office, he's like,
going about my daily work.
I will not have the realism and the chaos of this world rob me of my ideals. I will do my damn job. Yeah. And I don't care if he took some mushrooms or whatever.
Right.
Just keep him
straight
over
face.
there. Yeah. Finish my stuff. then we'll handle this.
I gotta say, as far as cold opens to an episode, that is my favorite thus far.
My name is Kira Yoshikage.
Like, that
I'm
was
39 years old.
Oh my god! Like, because the antics that they get up to in this show are pretty ridiculous, right?
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes I don't fully buy the ridiculousness of the situation, and it's more of like these characters are very, very sort of
Jokers.
exaggerated and jokers and things like that, right? But is this just how their life is all the time?
Yeah.
But see, if one of them ate mushrooms, then it actually would get this. It absolutely would get this wacky.
Right.
Yep. Okay. And now Atsushi is just, please save me.
Please, thank you. I'm so glad you're here.
Right. As soon as you open the door. Like,
I also love Doppo's comment of like, why are you bothering me this early? So it's like he's saying, it's 3 seconds before my work starts.
I got here 10 seconds early, so you know.
Well, yeah, right. But by the time he enters the door and
right, exactly.
asks him there,
Yep.
The idea of it being so early, which is like, yes, you're 3 seconds too early.
Hold on.
This is,
okay, go.
Okay, now you can. Yeah, exactly. There's this moment I remember when I was working in management with this company, and my boss showed up to work super early, and I thought, oh, cool. I'm going to use this as an opportunity to build rapport and converse over some professional things so that it feels like it's.
It has like a particular purpose.
It's not like it's wasting his time.
Yeah.
But I ended up realizing that because it was not work hour time yet, he's like, nope, shut up. Like, basically, like, nope, I don't want to talk. I don't want to hear anything about this. I am not starting work yet. Work starts. Yep, exactly. It was
Yeah.
whatever, don't bother me. I'm going through my morning ritual.
I really respect people that are a taskmaster with the clock.
Right.
Like, not to the clock, but with the clock. Where they're like, I mean, it's part of two as well.
It is too.
Yeah. And it's because of that I'm not outside the clock, right? But especially like there's doing it when it's like, okay, it's a regular job or whatever, but then there's doing it when you like are self-employed, and that's a whole other beast.
It's a whole other thing.
It's a whole other beast.
Yeah.
But
Dazai, I continually think you're way smarter than you let on.
Oh, yeah.
You caught on to the stuff with the glasses. You caught on to some stuff with the Azure Messenger being a little bit of a weird name there. You catch on to a lot of things. And the fact that you took the girl home...
Yep.
I don't think that's a coincidence. So I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop, basically, with Dazai, where Doppo's like, oh, you've been doing your part, right? And then Dazai just kind of like sidles up alongside him. He's like, I have. And then they both turn and look at the third party. And it's like, how do you two work together so well?
We're just that good.
We're just that good. We read each other's minds. It's just, it's wonderful.
So the other thing that I was thinking for the girl is, what if she was the Port Mafia member that was taken?
Yeah, it's possible.
Which would potentially add additional reason as for why Dazai wanted her to specifically stay with him.
Right.
Because he used to be in the Port Mafia.
Right, so he immediately recognized maybe some aspects of her gait, her dress, her
the way she carried herself, or
the way she spoke, any kind of stuff like that. And then he just kind of goes, okay, let's cut to the chase. You know who I am. And she's like, I know exactly who you are.
Right, yeah. And let's have a talk.
Yeah. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to have a little bit of a chat.
And as a cover, we can just say that, we got frisky or whatever, right? But there are some things we need to talk about.
Right, right. I could totally see that happening. Yep. But, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us and the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.